What up, Gravity Gang? Welcome to episode 3 of the Versus Gravity podcast. Today we're going to be talking about something that probably a lot of people, in fact everyone, has struggled with at some point. We're going to be talking about mindset. Sam, how would you want to introduce this topic?
Sure. So I guess we could briefly touch upon how we kind of develop the current mindset that we have now.
Yeah.
We'll touch upon some useful resources to kind of improve your mindset, why having a very strong mindset is important. I'm sure we'll kind of use this one as a bit more of a freestyle, like anything within the mindset topic. But I think, if we can touch upon kind of those key pillars, that'd be interesting.
Definitely.
Maybe tell me how your mindset's changed over your lifetime from when you were young and to kind of the current point you are at right now.
Okay, yeah, sure. So when I was younger, I was not always the most confident. Especially in secondary school, I remember there was a period when a lot of what I was doing in school, be that my grades or sports, apart from football, I was always confident with football, but particularly in my grades, they suffered in the first 3 years of school, and it's because I didn't believe in myself. Excuse the noise of a motorbike. Shut up. I didn't believe in myself, quite honestly. And it took someone, I remember his name, I won't name drop him here, but I was walking home one day and he said, bro, you just got to believe in yourself more. You got to back yourself.
Yeah.
And ever since that point, my grades skyrocketed. I started to actually back myself. And then, I kind of carried that through the rest of kind of until where I am today. Obviously, yes, I had hiccups along the way. I had kind of times through my life where my confidence has been damaged.
It's normal.
It's normal, you know about those times. We don't have to talk about those in detail. But effectively, those have all shaped the mindset that I have today. And that's what you guys see on Instagram and on socials and YouTube and whatever is the person that I am now, which is, you might think, he's so he's so mentally strong, he turns up every day, does this, does that, whatever. It didn't happen overnight. And I'm sure for Sam...
Well, I've seen it firsthand,
Yeah.
So
I'm sure for you it didn't happen... Well, I know it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
I was always quite confident growing up. I think that's the one lucky thing for my parents, especially from my mother and father. My parents, I don't know why I had to mention both of them. They always instilled they kind of showered me with unconditional love. So that's one thing I was very kind of grateful. I was almost cockily confident to something. I always thought I was the shit, not in an arrogant way. I just always knew I was capable of. I always did quite well academically, and obviously throughout your schooling years, that's kind of the only metric which you're judged upon is academics, right?
Yeah.
Because you could look at other aspects of my life, I was a scrawny little dweeb. So in that aspect, I wasn't confident at all. But because that didn't really matter to how success is calculated, I did alright for myself. I did quite well at school. Came first year of uni. I'd say I was still fairly confident, and then it was kind of then when people started getting older and you start to become a man, and there's other aspects. Well, kind of as a man, what you're actually judged upon is not what grades you get, it's kind of who you are as a person, the kind of what kind of status, how you comport yourself, how you talk,
your emotional intelligence,
even to a certain degree, how well you can kind of attract other women. And that, I don't mean attract, I don't mean in terms of your looks, but just kind of your game, your demeanor, your ability.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I guess probably that's when I started losing a bit of confidence, when I started to realise oh fuck, there's maybe I'm not all that. And then you'd see other guys that would potentially grow up a lot quicker than you would. And obviously you went to Bath Uni, there was a lot of fucking beasts there, especially when it comes to a typical masculine dude or whatever. There was some fucking animals there, especially like rugby boys or whatever. So I guess confidence probably took a bit of a hit then, and then that's when I kind of first started discovering the whole RSD, which was real social dynamics, which really taught you just kind of that's when I really started on the kind of self-development journey. I used to read a lot of books on psychology, so that was kind of third year of uni for me. So I was kind of always very confident, and then second year was a massive dip, and I needed that massive dip, and then from then it's just been kind of onwards and upwards, with obviously ups and downs, it's never just continuously up. But I think every man needs that point, that bad experience, which we actually were talking about this morning.
I was just about to ask you, do you think it's a prerequisite to achieving greatness?
100%. I think it is to some degree, yeah. And I mean, it's subjective. Like your pain and suffering. My pain and suffering is probably like nothing compared to some people, and some others might be like, "Whoa, that's bad." So it's completely and entirely depending on how you kind of deal with it as an individual.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in my life, I know I'm about to achieve greatness or great things when I'm in like a massive like downward spiral, because I know that momentum that's carrying me forward. After a certain point, it's like kind of the momentum's going to carry me forward, and then I'm going to shoot back up. So yeah, I do think you need to suffer. I think everyone, I mean, you, for example, I know, I'm not going to mention it, but I know that when you started going on this massive up trajectory, you were on a quite a big downwards one.
Yeah.
And I think if you hadn't had that bad experience, you wouldn't have come to clarity and looked at yourself and been like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And what am I doing with myself? It's time to do this. And that's what happened for me in third year of uni. I was like, I'm tired of just being this dude that's just like, incapable of just talking to like these sorts of people and just that, and I was like, fuck that, I'm done with this. Like, it's not happening anymore.
I totally agree. I think like, you know, if you look at any watch any superhero film, right, what's the number one common denominator? They always go through some shit
and
always.
It
energizes them, it gives them purpose, right? So I think definitely the premise of, you know, having shit happen to you is a prerequisite for greatness. I agree. I totally agree. So I mean, in terms of your mindset, I guess how have you found your training, the way that you've trained, and you know the intensity you've trained for the last couple of years? How have you found that to impact your mindset on a day-to-day basis?
It's definitely improved it, but I think like it was always there through the years of self-development, like watching people like David Goggins, Jocko Willink, Jordan Peterson, all those kind of people that I definitely like using external sources. Like you can read one book or watch one podcast that can change your entire life.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I'm in the process of joining the Army Reserves. I literally only did that because I've read the David Goggins book, and it just empowered me. It made me so kind of pumped to want to try those things. So I think it's been a two-way street. Reading those things has helped me in my training do better, but then also by virtue of improving in my training and being disciplined, that's also helped me be more disciplined in other aspects. It's kind of come back full circle, and it's kind of hard. I think if you're seriously into the gym and training, mindset becomes an automatic thing that kind of, as a byproduct, you end up improving. I know very few people that aren't very much into the gym and also aren't massively into self-development. And watch people like David Goggins or all these like Matt Fraser if you're into like CrossFit and all those things.
I think like 100%. The way that mindset and training kind of cross-pollinate and bleed into each other is so big. For me, like a lot of my life changed when I took training seriously, and my mentality towards anything. So like, you know, let's even take versus gravity, right? Only since May have I been full-time versus gravity. Before that, I'd been working a 9 to 5, just like you, just like a lot of other people, and I was way too afraid of taking that leap. And it is scary. It is very scary. But unless you do it, you're not ever going to know what's on the other side. And the former me, if I hadn't been training, if I hadn't, you know, developed my body and my mind through that kind of harsh environment of training, of, you know, like constantly breaking down yourself and building back up, breaking down, building back up, I don't think I would have ever taken that leap to leave my job. Because if you think about it, right, like, you know, not giving away anything about versus gravity's business, but to leave a job that's lucrative, and you're comfortable,
very good career path,
you can afford whatever you want, to then jump in the unknown and there's absolutely no certainty whether you'll make it or not, is big. And it takes a certain type of person to be able to do that.
Which you weren't that person.
I was not that person before my training. So yeah, I agree. I think the level of cross-pollination between the both is so big, and that's why we bang on about this to everyone we meet. If you're someone who wants to change your life, just go and get in shape, get shredded.
It sounds almost, I get from their perspective why they hate us saying it, because it sounds like the easy solution to a complex problem, but it's because it's true.
It's true.
It's true. It's that simple. I mean, take it from both of us. Like, just working out and go to the gym. Because going back to what we were saying before, if you want to achieve greatness, you've got to suffer. And how do I phrase this? We were fortunately unfortunate to have gone through some shit in our childhood that made us suffer, which developed our strong mindset now. That makes sense. Now, if that doesn't mean you have to, it's not like, oh, you can only be successful if you were like raised in a house where your parents beat you or anything like that. That's not what we're saying. Like, you might have had like an amazing childhood, but you still need to find suffering. And the way you find suffering is by working out. Going to a boxing class, going to jiu-jitsu classes.
Yeah.
That's how you find suffering. It's doing something you don't want to do. Going for long runs. David Goggins. He's achieved greatness because he does these things that he hates doing. It's all about callousing the mind. That's basically what he's saying. So yeah.
It's so funny you talk about boxing. Do you remember I went boxing in third year or fourth year? Yeah. Fourth year of university, and I my technique was decent. I did a couple of classes, and I've been boxing like kind of on and off with the bag, with the pads, a little while. And then I had a sparring session with someone in the club, and obviously he was a much better fighter than me.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he just messed me up.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy shit, I am nothing. I'm literally nothing. And doing things like that, like, I'm not saying you have to go boxing class and get yourself beat up like I did, right? But doing things like that, throwing yourself in the deep end, is gonna build your mentality more than anything.
Like, you've got to seek discomfort. Like, for me, the first thing that started off was literally just chatting to girls on the street, and I was terrified.
I remember those days, man.
Yeah.
Oxford Circus. If you're ever in Oxford Circus and you're a woman, be
watch
careful.
Out for me.
He's harmless.
Yeah. But like, that was terrifying for me. Like, it generally was, and I grew so. Even though I didn't even do that many approaches, but just for me to muster up the courage to do it, that's had so many positive impacts in other aspects of my life. Working in sales, I mean, it's helped with that. It's basically the same thing. It's just by a set of dynamic. It's just doing things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
If you can on a daily basis. It's what David Goggins says. It's every day you've got to do something you don't want to do. The cold shower is literally one of the best things you can do. It sucks. There's not a single morning where I look forward to doing a cold shower, but you do it anyway because you know you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And you always feel better after you do something that you didn't want to do initially. I don't feel better after eating at McDonald's because I wanted to do it in the first place.
That's such a good analogy. Genuinely ask yourself. You might have been. We've all been there. We've been super excited to eat at McDonald's, but after you've eaten at McDonald's, do you genuinely feel satisfied?
Hell no.
Because I will rack my brain. Even Domino's pizza, right? We used to eat so much Domino's pizza.
Yeah.
But after you've eaten it, did you feel satisfied?
Never.
No, you wouldn't. You'd feel more satisfaction in anticipation of eating it.
Yeah.
And then once it's actually in your body, you're like, what the hell? Like this, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
And so, like Sam's saying, throw yourself in the deep end, go for a run.
Could be anything.
Anything. Do something that's outside your comfort zone, and you, like, 90% chance you'll feel great after it.
Yeah.
It could literally be...
But not 100% of the time. You'll always feel better doing something you don't want to do, but you do it anyway.
Like, honestly, going back to my boxing example, I remember I took a picture of my face because I had bruises and whatever all over it. And... I was showing my family, and they were like, "My God, like, don't ever box again, don't ever do this. It's so bad for you. You get brain damage, whatever." I was on top of the moon. Yeah. I got beat up. I got humbled and beat up by another dude.
Yeah.
But I felt amazing.
Yeah.
And just that, the fact that I was able to do it was such a big change in my mentality. So you're so right when you say 100% of the time it'll make you feel better. Yes, it really will.
And if you feel nervous about doing something beforehand, that's usually a sign that you should be doing it. It's like that TikTok. If it's when you're scared to jump that you should jump. I'm paraphrasing, but you know which one. The one
we did an Instagram and TikTok post on using that audio. But essentially, it's like whenever you're most fearful of doing something, that's when you should do it. Essentially, that's the premise of doing it.
You'll learn to understand. So for me, I've noticed whenever on the monkey bars, when I do the muscle up to handstand.
Yeah.
I've only done it twice, and every other time afterwards that I've tried it and failed it's because I didn't have that initial anxiety. Because I almost wasn't nervous, which means that if I'm not in a nervous state beforehand, I don't go into kind of ultra instinct mode and I'm like, I need to fucking get this, like it's now or never.
Yeah.
If I'm casual about it, like whatever, so I'm not really going to be grown. Whereas before I was genuinely nervous walking on the way there because I was like, oh fuck, like I really don't want to fail this.
This is why, like, I've noticed one thing in our kind of competitive career of calisthenics, that I always perform better on competition day.
100%.
And so, like, let's take Body Strong last year, right? So when we were training for a competition last year called Body Strong, you might have heard of it if you're into the calisthenics scene in the UK. I had a minor pec tear and I had a rotator cuff injury on my right shoulder. So I was umming and ahhing about even competing.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't even know if it was worth it because I was like, I can't do anything. But I turned up on the day. Yeah, okay, guaranteed I couldn't do the max weighted dip that I wanted to. But my muscle up, I went up to 15 kg. I'd never even tried 15 in training. Chin up, I went up to 65.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, all of that anxiety, I remember on the day, I've not told anyone this, but I remember on the day going on the train to meet you guys at Birmingham New Street, right? I felt anxious.
Yeah,
I felt really anxious.
That means you want it.
Exactly.
Like it's your body, because your body's in a state where it understands that if you're not able to complete X tasks, you lose a lot.
Yeah.
And you're losing a lot because you've attached your ego and you've attached an outcome to it. So therefore, your body, in truth, like literally your body, not just your mind, your conscious mind, your body itself understands that there's shit on the line.
Yeah.
And that means that kind of consciously and subconsciously there's something worth attaining at the end of it.
Definitely.
So that's a good sign. They always used to say it back in the pickup community, like approach anxiety, embrace it, because that means that's your body telling you like, oh, you're not going to get approach anxiety from a girl that you're not attracted to and don't give a fuck about. Go and ask that old lady for the time. You're not going to get, unless you've got severe like kind of social anxiety, but that's more anxiousness as opposed to like having that feeling of like, oh god, I'm nervous. That's your body telling you that you're attracted to that person, and therefore if there's a favourable outcome, like it's high risk, high reward.
Yeah,
that's what it means. So you learn to embrace it. If you're in a feeling where you're like, oh, fuck, I kind of feel nervous, I'm not really sure, that's normally something that you actually should be doing that stuff.
Definitely.
Kind of when you first do your first cold showers, or very recently I was at my army selection, I had to do a bleep test that I've never done before. I was nervous before because I was like, oh fuck, if I fail, that's it, I failed, I need to come back in a month's time, or I don't want to embarrass myself in front of everyone there. And on the day I did way better than I thought I was going to, because I used that internal, like, fuck, I'm nervous, to just, fuck that, I'm doing it.
100%, man. No, you're so right. Like, nervousness isn't a bad thing, and don't ever feel like it's not a normal thing either, because when you're doing something that's outside of your comfort zone, just remember, if you were doing something that you were comfortable with, you wouldn't feel nervous. So it's natural to feel nervous when you're pushing yourself past your limits, right?
Yeah, you've
and
got
that is a good indicator. We always talk about indicators, right? So like in the last episode, we talked about DOMS being an indicator of overtraining or undertraining. Mm-hmm. In this case, nervousness is a good indicator of, oh, I'm outside of my comfort zone, right?
Massively, use
it as an indicator.
Smile in the face of adversity. Like, I literally have that almost like, when you see an anime, but like, in anime when he's about to like fight a demon, he's got that kind of smirk on his face. That's kind of how I approach it. I'm like, fuck yeah, I know now's it's now or never, and I know that now's an opportunity that if I succeed, massive rewards about to come. Whereas if it's just a boring training, so it's like every other day, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't be having day after day of just that nervousness, because then that means that you're probably in an uncomfortable situation and like you're probably way out of your depth.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point. There's a difference between being out of your comfort zone and out of your depth.
Yeah.
Being out of your depth means that you actually don't have the means to do what you're about to do.
Then it's more just fear.
And it's not even fear. At that point, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, for example, if you were going to go and do a cliff jump, right, but you had never done one before, and you were doing, let's say, I don't know, a 30-meter jump, that's probably stupid.
That's very fucking hard.
And if you are, if you genuinely have that really, that kind of instinctual thing telling you I should not do this.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, it's so bad, probably best you don't do it.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's no longer about out of my comfort zone. It's now I'm out of my depth.
Yeah, you can injure yourself.
You wouldn't go and dive to the bottom of the ocean unless you truly had the training for it.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't sit in ice like Wim Hof unless you actually had the prior training.
Yeah.
But doing something, just outside of your comfort zone, like going for a run, getting into the cold shower, trying to learn a new skill, going for a promotion at work.
This is the list is
that's out of your comfort zone, and that's things that you should do.
I mean, I would say push beyond what you even think is possible. So I guess it doesn't kind of go against your point, but obviously something like a cliff jump is just use common sense. Like you could die. Even Wim Hof, if you were to do it, like, I mean, seriously cold water, do it with someone.
Exactly.
With assistance. So like if you're really going to push it, and that's why I love learning new skills as well. Because again, like, I guess it's kind of types into it, but it's like neuroplasticity. The more the more skills you learn, the better you get at learning skills, which some of you might not even realize that that's a possibility. It's why people that like polymaths, such as Leonardo da Vinci, always said like learn how to juggle. That's one of the first things you should do. Very few people realize that. This is what I find very sad about our society these days. People, they're specialists in one field, which is beautiful in the world of sports and arts, because you've got Ronaldo, who's the best footballer in the world. We don't get is polymaths. So people didn't even know, but Leonardo da Vinci was so strong he could bend a horseshoe in two.
I didn't know that.
You have Socrates, I believe, or Aristotle was not world, but like a champion, elite level wrestler. So these dudes were like academics, painters, mathematicians, linguists, and they were fucking strong as fuck. So this is another one. Develop that mindset to be good at everything you do. Like develop an ego and work to justify it.
I think and this kind of comes back to what we said in the last episode. If me and Sam were to go and pick up Muay Thai right now, we would believe that we could get pretty damn good at it.
I know it.
And it's exactly.
Yeah, I know I could.
It's because we have the mindset. We've developed such a, we've used this term before, an iron mind, right? That we can go and approach a task that we have no prior experience with, but we could probably have a good stab at it.
Yeah.
And you know, if you don't have a mentality, a winning mentality is what we like to call it, then you're not probably going to succeed in that thing.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I have people sometimes come up to me and say, oh, like, you seem to be good at nearly every sport that you do. And I'm like, well, it's because I approach it with confidence, right?
Yeah.
I'm not actually...
Mindset's everything as well.
It is. I'm not like, you know, if I was to go and play basketball now, right? The only reason I hit those hoops sometimes, I'm you know, if you put me against loads of other people in basketball who play basketball, I'd be so shit. I'd be terrible. But
you back yourself.
But I back myself, and that's what makes me hit those, score those hoops. That's what it is. It's not because I'm good at basketball. I'm not. I don't even play basketball, right? But
mindset is everything.
It's that mindset.
Almost. I've handstand push up. I struggled for handstand push up for so long. I could go down in the negative, but I could never push up. And I literally just had one session. It was midway through a session as well, so I'd failed a few. And I was like, you're being a pussy. Like, literally just go down and up. Like, literally just tell yourself before you can do it, you can do it. Because what I was doing, I was going down really slowly because I was scared. I was telling myself, literally vocally, I could hear myself, but like, you can't do it, so go down slow. The next set, I literally was like, you can do it. Like, shut the fuck up, you can do it. Like, literally was in my mind, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Bam, first go. Since then, I've been able to do handstand push-ups. So that's telling me that literally the only thing stopping me from doing the handstand push-up at that time wasn't lack of strength. It was literally my internal dialogue. And it's what I'm going to completely butcher this quote, but it's by Bruce Lee. And it's just like, basically, never speak ill of yourself, because like words have magic to them. That's why they call it spelling, because you cast a spell. Your subconscious mind listens. So never. I mean, I was definitely guilty of this before, which I know and a lot of other mates, they've caught up on it. But like, I always say, oh, I can't do it. You'd be like, oh, go and do this. Like, I can't do it. You say that, you won't be able to do it.
Sam, you are the most, honestly, man, like, when and this is a great example, to be honest, to touch on. So, like, when we used to train together more often, when we lived together, like, you know, we'd be doing stuff and Sam would be like, oh, I just can't do it. Like, I can't do any more sets. I'm like, bro, what?
I definitely could have.
You easily could have, yeah. But you just now obviously you've broken that pattern, right?
But this is what people don't even. Once you break that pattern, obviously the first benefit is you then like, oh cool, I can do these exercises. But then when you really deep, it's like, oh fuck, my mind's that powerful.
Yeah.
That I can literally tell myself that I'm good at shit, and that's why you were good at basketball, because you're like, oh, I'm good at this stuff, so you're gonna be good. Like, your mind is so fucking powerful.
I think even Ronaldo even says this, right? Like you've spoken about him before. And when people ask him who the best player in the world is, he doesn't say Messi, he says me.
And you ask him at 17 who it was, he
says me. And he said, well, if I don't believe I'm the best, I never will be. And he's completely spot on, right? If you don't tell yourself you're the best, how can you ever become the best?
Yeah.
And we're not talking about comparing yourself to other people. Forget all of that. Even tell yourself, I'm the best version of myself. I am going to be the best version of myself. Or, you know, like, this is me. If you don't accept that, then you're never going to be the best version. If you always tell yourself, I'm a little bitch, you're always going to be a little bitch.
Everything you utter is self-hypnosis. You may realise it or you may not. Even if I'm talking to you and I'm talking about someone else, your subconscious mind listens.
Yeah.
So stop speaking ill of yourself. If you are going to speak ill of yourself, be careful with the words you say, like, I could have done that better.
Yeah.
And for you, I mean, we don't have children, but that's one thing that my dad did amazingly well with me. and I'm sure there's some of you people out there have good parents have done the same reviews, that what you would say is like, oh, say if they get bad grades at maths, don't say, oh, you're shit at maths. So I was always very good at maths because my parents said I was good at maths. I was always terrible at English because my parents would always say, oh no, you're a maths kid, but you're not good at languages. So I internalised that. Just because you're not good at something doesn't mean that that's your destiny.
He sucks.
Yeah, Trivial Pursuit.
Anything you ever see written on Versus Gravity, right? I have to spell check it. Anyway,
I'm not the best at it. So you'd say, oh, I think you can do better at that, or I know you're capable of more. You need to be selective of the own language you use yourself. Like you will sometimes I'll let it sit, but I will very rarely speak illy of myself. Like you can go into the pseudoscience whether you believe in manifestation or not. I kind of agree with it to some extent. The words you utter create your own reality. So if you want, if you want a specific job, don't even say, oh, I can't wait to get that job. But like, oh, I'm getting that job. Or like, 100%. When I get that job, when I get this, not if. Stop saying if I get the planche, when I get the fucking planche.
This is, I literally, like, I cannot agree with you more. When I came into into doing Versus Gravity full time, my parents were saying to me, like, oh, like, you know, not my dad. My dad kind of, because he's got his own business, he understood, you know, how it is. But my mum always said, oh, like, you know, what about this? What about that? And I said, Mum, I will succeed.
Yeah, I will. Block that shit out. It doesn't even, if they're family,
yeah. And it does not matter, even if in the first year or two that Versus Gravity doesn't succeed. I will always tell myself I will succeed. We went to grab some food just now, and we were saying we will succeed.
We don't even say if. It's literally it's when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's that quote which again I'm going to butcher this quote, but there is no try. There is no try. Yeah. You only do it, right? So you don't try. You just and this is something that unfortunately is ingrained into you as a young person.
Social condition.
Oh, yeah. It's okay. You tried. You did this. You tried. Doesn't matter. No. Like literally, F that. You got to literally say, no, there is no try. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it's powerful shit. It really is.
Yeah, it literally is.
But people don't realise it, but it's why when I was saying like curate basically your own thoughts, but obviously there's one thing the words you utter, but then there's also the shit you hear. So therefore, a massive point is curate who you're hanging out with. 100%. Not only who you're hanging out with, the videos you're watching.
Yeah.
Like I don't read the news anymore because it's just negative shit all the time, and most of it's just like bullshit, socially conditioning stuff that just like it's all the cope stuff.
Noise. Like,
it's noise. Money doesn't buy happiness. All these like sayings or like, oh, balance, you need balance. It's always people that are saying these things, always people that are kind of mediocre at most levels.
And they're coping with their reality. They don't actually want, or they dream of more, but they never act on it.
They never do it, so they want to bring people down to their level to make themselves. So start hanging out with the right people. Start ingesting the right amount of content. Just create the stuff you're listening to. Create the books you're listening to. So if you go on like either of our TikToks or Instagram, like of course we do look at memes and funny random stuff, but I'd say 80 to 90% of it.
Motivation, man.
It's all motivation.
It's all, and it doesn't even come in the form of calisthenics only. There's all sorts of entrepreneurs. There's billionaires. You know, all of these things that we look at.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like you look at probably the majority of guys, young guys, if you look at their TikTok and Instagram feeds, it's probably half naked women.
Stop being a simp. Stop being that shit off your stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
It's so lame.
Whereas you look at ours, right? There are no signs.
Girls. You've seen me. As soon as I see a girl, it's like not interested. I don't know. That shit doesn't do it. Like you're putting this random girl on a pedestal that you don't even know. She doesn't even know you exist, and you're giving her your energy, your energy, and attention for nothing. It's a one-way street. It's an L.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Literally an L. Like. You've got to, like you said, you've got to curate your space, and unfortunately, that's such a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. Because we were talking about just before this about like giving up certain social habits, right? If you're someone who drinks, and you have to, you got to bear in mind that potentially all your friends that you go drinking with, if you don't see them outside of drinking, are they really your friends? Are they actually, are they actually good for you, right? Because ultimately, they enjoy your company when they're drinking and when you're drinking. If you turned up to that thing and you weren't drinking, would they actually give you the same attention that you had when you were drinking? If the answer is no, well, then there you go. You know that those people aren't necessarily people you want to be curating into your space.
Yeah, I think that can be hard pill to swallow for you, but the thing that helped me with doing it was, one, I'm lucky because like my closest friends, we've kind of gone on this journey together. But if I was on my own, a thing that helps me is just, you need to have foresight. You need to understand that, look, I'll be honest, 90% of the friends you have now, you're not going to know when you're 50 or 60. Like, that's just the sad truth of life. You've got one life, like, deep, like, you've literally got one chance at this. Why waste it with people that ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, aren't actually going to matter that much? That doesn't mean to be a complete recluse and be a dickhead and cut everyone off. Like, we haven't done that. We haven't cut people out. It's just, we're so busy on our own journey that it's no longer a priority to hang out with certain people. Like, if they want to make the effort and we're free, obviously we're more than willing to make.
It's
to meet
literally
up.
like you literally just say. You don't make the conscious effort of cutting people out. You just focus 90% or even 100% of your time now on yourself, and the people who are about it will join you on that journey.
That's the thing. We've met some fucking amazing people along that journey, which we wouldn't have if we weren't on that journey. We probably would have met other people that would have maybe continued us down. I wouldn't say we were on a downward spiral, but
it would have been a different route.
Yeah, we wouldn't be in the route that we are now. So you're going to meet people that are like-minded, and that's the beauty of the internet. And this is what my dad always bangs on. He's always like, you guys are so lucky. He's like, I was like that as a kid, but no one else thought like that. So they all just thought I was just some weird guy and like completely ostracized from most of society. Whereas nowadays you've got the internet. You can be hanging out with the biggest losers at school or your job. You hop on Reddit, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram.
You got access to all these people.
Join a gym. You're gonna. Gym's like the best, like literally the best place to meet like-minded people. Doesn't matter if they're meatheads, whatever. I don't care if some dude is some jacked up steroid user who's a meathead. He still had to put in so much fucking, like, real recognises real, right? I appreciate anyone that puts like an ungodly amount of effort into whatever they do, whether, even if they have completely different political views to me and they do a hobby that I absolutely despise, the amount of effort they put into that, I will recognise it, and that I'd like to think they would recognise the amount of effort I would put into my own craft. Yeah,
100%. Like, that quote, real recognises real.
Yeah,
it's so powerful, because there's plenty of people at the moment now who, you know, they'll do things under the facade of, well, it's cool and everyone else is doing it, so I need to do it, right? Look at things like fast fashion, right?
Yeah.
Why do certain people wear certain things? It's because they've seen their favourite celebrity wear it, and so they wear it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but what I'm saying is you need to develop your own. You need to develop your way of thinking, right?
Actually, a thing that I hate using the word ick.
Go on.
But it's a thing. It's kind of off topic, but I have a real issue with like fashion people. And the people that work in it, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about people who base their soul and entire personality on the clothes they wear. You're judged by the character under your clothes. If your whole personality is based on the clothes you wear, you've got zero personality. Like you're a vaporous individual. It's all about, and another benefit of working out is that if you look good working out, you can wear a £3 fucking t-shirt and you look good.
Yeah.
So stop coping with your shit personality and your lack of goals and ambitions and your shit friendship circle by putting on all these clothes and do all these things that no one cares about. Develop a real personality, develop some hardship, stop hanging around with the right people, stop being a loser. I probably sound like a dickhead, but it's true, you're a loser. No one cares about the clothes that you wear.
We've opened Pandora's box right now. No, but he's
cringe
right.
For me. Like, it's cringe. It's just like, no one cares about, like, if you genuinely think your entire personality, and we're human beings, you're born on this fucking random experience of a life. We're on this fucking earth, a rock spinning through the universe, and you get this one chance at it. I'm getting quite spiritual here. It's beautiful. Like, we've got this one fucking chance. You meet people, you've got all these experiences, and you're going to define your whole entire life by the fabric you wear on you. It's an L.
It is silly.
It's an L. So like you're making up for It's just sad.
Yeah, it's super compensating, right? It's super compensating for the lack of development that you've put into your own character.
It's a cheat code.
It's a cheat code, yeah.
You haven't gone out there, you haven't suffered, you haven't developed a personality.
It's like copying someone on a test.
Legit, yeah.
Because you've not done any of the work to actually understand what you're writing down. You've just decided, I'm going to copy someone and get 100%.
Yeah.
You might have got 100%, but then when push comes to shove, and you get to university, and you can't copy anymore, and there's no teachers there to handhold you, you're screwed.
Look, life is a test.
Yeah.
Once you go to the real test, which is after the ones that you've copied and cheated on, you're going to get hit.
You're going to get hit hard. And you're not going to be able to get back up.
You'll get found out, and then that's where real recognises real. A real person, I'm not being like, I'm better than people because I'm a real G or whatever. That's not the point I'm making. I'm able to look through my life and because I've put myself in uncomfortable situations. I'm able to see the person that I've become now.
Yeah.
Because of the things that I've been through. And I've been that person, like, shy, maybe not as confident at university, thinking like, oh, if I wear these clothes, maybe people will like me, or like I'll get more girls. And you realise it's like, what the fuck? That shit's just an L. Like, the biggest improvement I've ever done in my literally 27 years of experience is working on myself, going through hardship.
Yeah.
And then that's the respect I now get from people, especially that older for me. It's come from that. It's not from the clothes that I wear. It's not from the watch that I wear. It's not from the way I look. It's not my haircut.
This literally, like what you just said, is spot on. Don't get it twisted. Everything that you've done, we've probably done, right? In terms of trying to fit in. We were both if you look back at uni, right? All of the people in our halls and stuff, they saw us probably as the most annoying.
We were probably the gimpiest ones out of all of them.
We were the most annoying too out of
Yeah.
because we used to do things that they didn't like because we weren't fitting into the norm, right? We tried to fit into the norm, and we realised we're like, wait, screw that. Let's be ourselves, and that's why we are where we are. And we're not saying you need to, completely break away from society. We're not saying that. What we're saying is try and push yourself outside your comfort zone and develop yourself. Because if you can develop the person you are, raw, right?
Yeah,
when I say raw,
naked,
I mean literally naked
and physically as well.
Physically, metaphorically, literally, if you can develop yourself naked, then you truly have something that is powerful, because the only thing that you have in this world is your mind and your body, and that's it. Nothing else. Everything else people can take away from you, right?
And that shit's powerful. People are intimidated by someone with a strong mindset.
Oh,
shit, it
100%.
pisses people off, when it's a Friday night and it's at the office. Oh, do you want to come for drinks? No, I'm going gym. You can see it pisses them off. It generally does, because this motherfucker, because when you tell people that you're going to stop drinking, no one believed you initially, right? They were like, oh, he'll be drinking, and then
it's
a month, 2 months,
but it's
3 months,
all
4
cope.
months.
At the end of the day, like we said, it's all cope. If you tell people you're going to do something and then they put you down, they're coping.
Yeah.
They're coping with the fact that, he's doing it. I know I should do it, but I'm too lazy.
Yeah, they're intimidated.
Yeah, intimidated.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's watching this and you're saying, nah, that's not true, be genuinely, no, we're not coming at you, right? But what we're saying is, be completely honest with yourself. If you've ever sat in that position where someone said that they're doing something and you've judged them, right? And it's something that you haven't done yourself, be completely honest with yourself and ask yourself, are you judging them for any other reason other than you're just trying to cope with the fact that they are doing something?
You off?
Yeah, why is it pissing you off?
And I mean, it still happens to us when someone do something, and if your intrinsic thing is like a knee-jerk reaction to hate, like yours, you need to take a step back, and you need to be very self-analytical, and that's another thing that comes with mindset. You need to be able to analyze your own thoughts and just be like, why? Whoa, fucking hell! I just had a knee-jerk reaction to someone saying something. Why? 9 times out of 10, it's because they're doing something. Deep down, you're jealous of what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely for you to have a knee-jerk reaction and for it to just be a difference of opinion or something that's actually not got anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Normally, it's just you're actually projecting outwards, and we still do it all the time.
Another really powerful thing you just said, and I'm glad again that we've arrived at this point, which is the way in which you react to something is entirely you.
Yeah, literally is. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what anyone says to you, right? Someone could call you a fat piece of shit. Some people will call you lazy. Some people will call you an arsehole. Whatever it is, it's on you as to how you react to that.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be external influences that are going to try and push you down. I like you say, manifestation, right? I also believe in it in some extent. I also believe that there's a kind of a natural order to things, right? Mm-hmm. And whenever you try and break through that order, things are going to try and pull you back the way so that it restores order. You need to understand that if you want to break away from that natural order, you've got to develop your own mind and develop yourself, and
put in the work,
and react. You've got to learn how to react to certain situations, and one of them is if someone tells you you're shit, how are you going to react? Are you going to cry about it, or are you going to get up and say, yeah, you know what? Maybe I am shit. Maybe I'm going to work on it.
Yeah.
That's how you've got to be, and to be honest, that kind of mindset will get you so far, not just in your life, But like we said right at the start, this cross-pollinates into every single, like...
Mindset's everything.
Every single aspect
it really
of
is
everything you do.
Like, stop playing the victim as well. No one likes a victim. And it's the sad truth is no one cares either. Like,
yeah,
the
no
thing
one
is,
cares.
you can have the worst experience, you could have the worst childhood, and I'm in no way, neither me or Isan, we're not downplaying that. We're just saying, you're not going to win anything by playing the victim. The outcome of being a victim is fruitless. Like, it's pointless. No one's going to care.
Harness it.
Yeah, literally use it to your advantage. Like, I'm sure we did. I was like, I was the skinny guy. Or even before that, when I started doing pickup and stuff, I used the fact that I was so fucking lame before, and I was like, do you know what would be funny? If the dude that was so lame became a beast at this.
Yeah.
And I used that to develop my ego, and then that's why I did well. And the same thing, me being skinny is like, wouldn't it be funny if the skinny kid became a fucking shredded whatever? I use it to my advantage instead of just crying.
Watch Naruto, for God's sake. The guy literally, if you watch the beginning of Naruto, man, it made me feel sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
But guess what? He doesn't sit there and cry about it. He harnesses it. He goes, I'm becoming Hokage. You know? Like, that's the crux of it. Yeah. No one is downplaying your experience of life. At the end of the day, that is what makes you you. Mm-hmm. But it's up to you how you use it. You can either, like Sam said, play the victim card, or you can say, you know what, screw that. I'm going to use this and I'm going to harness it into true power. And to be honest, I know which one I'm choosing. So
even with the whole, because you may not view it as being the victim, but it's choose your words carefully. So we hear all the time like, but you've got good genetics or whatever. It's like, I'll be honest, I do have good genetics when it comes to building in muscle mass. You give me the body of the person, so it's like, I will still outwork them, so it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
So it's like, stop giving yourself excuses, and that kind of ties into like, create the words that you say yourself. Stop coming up with bullshit excuses. We used to do it all before, like, I'm too tall for a planche. Well, you tell yourself that chances are you will be too tall for planche and you'll never get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think the best thing to kind of, I guess, maybe potentially summarize, I don't know if there's other points, but I think the starting points, because what started it for me was finding the right mentors out there. And when people think mentors, they think, like, I've got some old dude that I go visit every Tuesday in his office and he's my mentor. So it can be a book. For me, it was literally a YouTube video, one YouTube video that I saw that changed my entire life. It can be a book, it can be a podcast, it can be a network, it can be going to the gym. So I think start hanging around with the right people. And you'll know that by, where do you think your current friendship group, where do you think they'll be in 5 years? And if they're at a point that you don't want to be in, maybe they're not the friends that you need to be. It doesn't mean you have to cut them out, just try and find other friends. And also, if you start going on this self-development kind of journey and they start kind of dragging you down, that will be your number one sign that they're not really your friends. Actually, they're just, you're kind of addicts and you're just coping with each other. And you're all using each other to make yourselves feel less bad about what you're doing. And that's not friendship, that's like some toxic one-way street. So yeah, create your kind of friendship group, create the fucking words that you keep telling yourselves.
Yeah.
And start watching YouTube videos, start reading the right books. Like, that shit is, they actually, so you can use mentors, so that can be the form of YouTube, books, the people you hang around with. Like TikToks, what I do is that you can save videos, and then I have a folder literally specifically my phone called Motivation, and I save everything to there. Mm-hmm. And it's just a way for me that if I'm ever lacking motivation, I'll just go on these videos. I've got a lot of David Goggins videos there, and it gets me in the mood, and it resets you. Right? I mean, we've all read books, and after you read the book, you're like, I want to do this, and then over time you kind of slowly forget it. It's always something you need to come back to, and always don't be annoyed at the fact that you need to come back to, because that was my initial mistake with self-development. I thought that, now that I'm on this journey of self-development, it was just going to be like that. So then if I had a day where I dipped down, I was like, oh my God, like, I basically was resisting it. I was like, no, I can't, because then I thought, I've lost it, I'm going to go down. It's just, you got to understand that as long as overall, over time, you're improving, you're going to have those days where you feel down. You're not depressed just because for one day you feel down, all right? It's normal, like, it's the yin and yang. You need to feel down to, like, go back up.
100%. Like, literally, you know, what you just said, self-development, just like we talked about in the last episode, just like calisthenics, is not a linear journey. By all means, you need, like you said, you need the downs in order to propel you upwards. And that's a fact. That's literally a fact. So yeah, don't feel, one thing we always talk about, and this is, I know this is a very touchy subject because there is a lot of grey space in this sort of subject right now, but because you feel down on one day, don't automatically think of assigning a word to that feeling, right?
100%.
As soon as you assign a problem or a societal name, you label. If you label it,
it becomes real.
It becomes real, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Try. You know, like you've got to do your best to say, okay, fine, I feel down today. What am I going to do about it? You know?
And again, brainwash yourself. So like when you feel down, the way I think about it, so, that's my brain, or there's something in my body telling me that there's something maybe not quite right.
Yeah.
So it's your internal system. Like the mind and body is fucking amazing how it works. It's literally got its own system to tell you that something's not working. It's literally like that little notification on your computer telling you, like your scan virus is out of date, you need to update it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's true or not to do with depression doesn't matter, but the fact is I legit believe that to be true. So now whenever I feel down, I view it as a positive. I've literally brainwashed myself to never really feel negative about certain things.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of power of the mind. Is like over time you can really develop it. Of course I have some days when I feel down and I'm not always like sitting, like walking down the street feeling like Mary Poppins.
I felt down literally not yesterday, day before yesterday.
Yeah.
About my training, about this huge opportunity which we've taken, about doing the business. No, there was literally the whole morning I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I honestly had this point of like, I don't know what, like, self-doubt. But my way of bouncing back was I sat there, I rationalized it, I talked about it, and I realized it's normal.
It's normal.
You gotta bounce back up. Like, it doesn't matter if, like the whole quote around life's gonna knock you down. You're only, don't give up, keep getting back up. You got to keep getting back up, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. Is as soon as you label it, you've basically resigned. Yeah. That's what you've done. You basically said, I've accepted defeat.
Yeah, and like you can. That's why watching videos or podcasts. So for me, if I'm really kind of feeling a bit lost and I don't really know what to do, I mean, like I can ring my dad, but maybe that might not be possible for some people out there. Watch a YouTube video. Have your favorite YouTuber that you just know gets you. Like I have 2 or 3 YouTubers that I know that if I'm feeling down or whatever, I can watch them. I want to go conquer the world after I watch them. So this is one thing, kind of curating your own thoughts, but also don't be afraid. I feel like people are embarrassed to kind of, because in some way you're externally getting your paradigm shift in your view, but that doesn't matter. If you need to watch a video to feel like, you shouldn't have to rely on watching those videos. You should deep down, or 90% of the time, be working on developing your own
those
mindset.
videos help you get to that point.
It does over time, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like your mindset is built through the amalgamation and combination of all those videos and all those past experiences of failure that you've built up. And the fact is, the more you suffer, the less likely you are to feel down. Because if I'm ever feeling down, I'm like, I've been through 1,000,000 times worse than this.
Exactly.
Like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. It's just like, I went through that. I'm not going to cry about this. I can't get a planche in a year and a half or whatever. But like, so there's people out there dying in the world, and I've been through 10 times worse.
Exactly, man. It's all perspective.
Yeah,
it's
if you haven't suffered though, you're going to cry at the first hurdle.
Look at I like to look at these kind of most motivational stimuli, if you like, so like videos or books or whatever. Look at that as like your alcohol for talking to new people.
Yeah,
right.
Thing about
like it's an enabler, right? So like if I'm watching Goggins or if I'm watching whoever, right, who's going to motivate me into doing something, that is kind of like my Kickstarter. It's like, it gives me that reminder, like, here we go, like this is what I'm all about. For those of you that drink, if you need a drink to be able to socialize with someone, why do you need the drink to be able to socialize with someone? Think of your motivational video as exactly the same thing. It's kind of like my little kick up the arse to say, you can do this. Yeah. It's no different. At the end of the day, all you need is a stimulus to be able to push you in the right direction.
Yeah.
And that's why we
love those things. Be careful what you define as stimulus, because what normally people do, like, say if you're in a tricky situation, you're feeling a bit down, I guess what we'll normally do is we'll either talk to our family, talk to ourselves, or just through their own kind of willpower of our mind, a bit like stop being a pussy, get along with it, maybe watching David Goggin. What do most people do?
Yeah.
That's a bad stimulus to have. And like the reason why is because, like we said, you cannot grow without suffering. Like you cannot grow without suffering. Really deep that. That's why when you really understand that, you learn to enjoy the suffering. Mm-hmm. So when I'm going for like my army selection process, the more it sucks, the more I'm enjoying it, because that's I'm like, I know that I'm gonna grow through this. And the reason why smoking and doing drugs doesn't work is because it stops that suffering. So I think I remember watching a podcast where a guy said, imagine you have a day where you sit around and do F all day and just play video games. And then on the other day, you do the same thing and you smoke some weed. The second day, when you do that whole thing and smoke weed, you're having a good day. You're high, you're having fun, you're playing video games. So you don't really look back and think, oh, this is a fine day. I don't really need to do anything about my life. The first day, when you've cut out the kind of fake stimulus through drinking, thinking, this is a shit day. I need to fucking do something about my life. Because I did not enjoy that.
Well, look at, a lot of people turn to food.
Yeah,
comfort.
Food's another one.
Food's another one. If you're eating, obviously eating provides you a positive feedback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, oh, I'm enjoying the food I'm eating, especially if you're eating junk food, because it's loaded with sugar and whatever else.
Yeah.
You're only going to feel great when you're eating that stuff, right? Afterwards, after the fact, you feel terrible, but then your thinking is, oh, well, I feel terrible now. Let me do some more.
Yeah.
And it's the same with alcohol. I mean, it's a depressant for a reason, right? Literally, the words are there for you.
Yeah.
It's not going to help you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think what we'll move towards wrapping up here. The last kind of and the most kind of important point that you guys need to understand with mindset and with building a winning mentality is, like you said off camera before, success is really a lonely road.
Yeah, the road to success is a lonely road. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to build on that?
Yeah. So the reason why that is, I think, is because obviously that might seem counterintuitive to what everything we've just said was, like, build your network, build the right mentors around you, like absorb the right knowledge. Because the thing is, those people out there, they do exist, but that's not 99% of people. 99% of people are kind of very average in kind of everything they do, and it's the way that society works. We're all animals. Just like look at any kind of hierarchical animal structure. It's just you kind of got most of the people that are average, which is fine. That's the way society needs to operate. But you've also got to understand that there's some people that the average life that's not enough. Like 50 Cent said, right? Get rich or die trying. I'd rather keep trying to become the best version of myself and fail than just give up and accept comfort and accept mediocrity. That shit, I cannot do it. It's just not within me.
Mm-hmm.
People think like, oh, he's just being probably up himself and arrogant. Like it literally goes against my fucking very core as a human
even
being.
if people thought you were arrogant, so what?
I don't care. Yeah.
Literally, so what? Like, we talk about this, shutting out haters and stuff like that. We already actually spoke about it on this one. You need to be able to block out that stuff. Who cares if you're being arrogant?
I love it.
Honestly,
I like
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hate on me. Cool. That means I'm doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. Like you've got to learn that if you want to achieve anything in life, you are going to have people that will try and push you back. I really talked about this already, so we don't need to go in again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like literally, like you're saying, it is a lonely road. We've already talked about how you are going to lose friends. You are going to find that you're alienated in some degree from certain people.
Sometimes even your family,
sometimes
your parents,
your
mum and dad will they still love you, but the thing is they won't be like David Goggins said it perfect. When you become so fucking obsessed with being the best at what you do, people they don't understand it. People they think you're insane, which is why you always say, oh, but what about balance? Because it's that don't view it as them trying to put you down and be a dick towards you. It's just they cannot comprehend the level of obsession you have. That's a much healthier way of thinking about it. If you view it that, because then it's more of a cognitive dissonance. It's like, they don't understand. They're not doing it because they don't. Your parents don't want to see you fail. It's not that. It's just that they think the route you're going down is an unhealthy one.
Yeah.
And they genuinely think that balance is a better alternative.
It all comes down to experience, right? Like I come from a family of so my parents are immigrants, right? So for them, their mentality, actually, I'm very blessed that my dad understands all of this because, again, like I said, he has his own business. So when I said to him, I'm going to do this, he was like, yeah, do it. But, my mum, for example, she's a different way of thinking because the way that she was raised was different, right? And a lot of people, children of immigrants will know this. Your parents came to whatever country you immigrated to, and their primary objective was to just survive.
Yeah, hard work.
So they don't know any differently. When you take risks, that's like, oh, hold on a minute, don't do that. Now, I'm speaking a lot because I know a lot of the guys that follow me are children of immigrants, right? Yes, you should understand where their concern comes from, but don't necessarily bend your will to theirs in that sense because you have got an opportunity that they didn't have. And if you understand that and take the opportunities that you're given, then you will actually know what you're truly capable of. If you don't take those opportunities, you will just be like your parents. And I can tell you right now, because my dad's told me this, my dad wants me and my brother and all of his children to be better than he is. And if you don't take opportunities that come your way, how can you ever become better than them? You can't. Because you'll just be them. So, like Sam says, it's not coming from a place of I want to see you fail. It's because they just haven't had the same opportunities and the same experience as you. And that's the beauty of life, right? Life is going to change. When you have your kids, you're probably going to want them to not do certain things. And they're going to be in your position that you're in now and say, well, Dad, so what? Mm-hmm. Like, I know this is good for me. So take that open mind and understand that this journey that you're going to go on for success, you've got to understand that there's going to be people who don't get it. And that's fine. They don't have to get it. Like we said, you're on this journey for yourself. You're not on this journey for other people.
Yeah, you really need to come to terms that the likelihood is you're not going to be on your own. That's not what we're saying. Like, the likelihood of you actually going through the whole process alone is very small in this day and age. Just, you've got to be okay with the fact that potentially you could be. Because as long as you accept that idea, then you kind of let go of any kind of like tension. You just like, well, as soon as you accept the situation, you don't resist it, right? Yeah. Whatever comes.
And that's so important because, like we said, there's going to be shit thrown your way, right? There's going to be days of self-doubt. There's going to be days when people actually try and, dismantle what you've been building. There's going to be, like, why do you think the super rich always trying to avoid tax? Why? There's always going to be people who are like, I'm sure rich people all the time get people who are trying to sue them.
Of course.
Right? Why do you so you've got to be able to deal with those things, and like Sam says, you've got to be able to deal with you and your naked body and yourself. And if you cannot live with yourself and only yourself, then you're not really built for success.
You learn also who you are, because you can only live with yourself if you know who you are. You'll learn who you are by suffering.
Yeah, exactly. This all comes back to that, which is
suffer. Yeah,
you've got to suffer.
Need to suffer, and like people probably take it out of context, like suffer. Like, oh, I need to fucking slit my wrists or like jump off a building and break my ankles. It's just in the simplest term is do something that you don't want, that you have resistance to. Like, I don't really want to do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Like literally going back to that kind of that pre-anxiety or whatever. That's your sign that maybe I should do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't really get anxiety before doing exercises now. But so I guess
before
like
at some point we did.
But I mean, but like now if I know, because I guess you tend to grow a lot with something you do initially, and then you kind of, in terms of growing, in terms of like your comfort zone. Like we're very much still in our comfort zone in calisthenics.
In terms of training, yes, but that's because we've pushed ourselves outside. Now, if you were to say, are we in our comfort zone in other aspects of our life, like for example business?
Well, still training cardio.
Well, even training,
would just be starting something new in training.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, business.
Business is the number one thing.
Yeah.
We're starting on this adventure. We have no idea whether we're doing everything right or wrong.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. The point is we're outside of our comfort zone.
But that's why it's fun.
That's why it's fun. Exactly.
Like, they always say, rich people say, the funnest parts are when they sucked at first and all their businesses kept failing at the beginning, and then when they had no money. Those are the golden years.
100%.
The golden years of Cali kind of was when you first started. I mean, for us, I think we kind of are still in our golden years of Cali, but I'm sure when we've got like Maltese and Victorian, it's going to be like, I kind of miss when I was learning handstands and front levers. So it's why enjoy it, suffer, find the right people, and stop coming up with excuses. You've literally got no excuse today. Like literally, you can outsource fucking everything. Like if you want to start a business and make money, you've got e-commerce, dropshipping, you've got the internet, like literally fucking worldwide web.
It's like we say with mentors, right? You don't need to go and find someone to physically interact with to mentor. You can go on Reddit, you can go on Twitter, you can go on our Discord.
Yeah.
Come back to that.
Yeah. Be with like-minded individuals.
Exactly. Like get coaching from us. Like, all of those things that you can find mentorship now, and like Sam said, you've got absolutely
zero excuse
I
have
now.
Very little time for people that come up with excuses as to why they're not. I don't care if you're successful, because I don't even think we're successful yet, but we're on the right journey towards success. If you're not on an upward spiral, there's zero excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there really isn't.
The term the world's your oyster really rings true, and it truly is, especially in this day and age, the digital day and age. Perhaps not for your parents, perhaps not for our parents, but for us,
I mean, there's people selling farts in a jar and making literally tens of thousands a month.
Exactly.
If they can do that, the thing is, just throw shit at the wall to see what sticks. Just do something. And this was my biggest issue: it's paralysis by analysis. I wanted everything to be perfect, but if you're young, you've got the benefit of time on your side. Do anything, and just stick with it for 6 months, and I guarantee you, from that, you'll learn a bit about your niche or your industry, your fitness or whatever.
Exactly.
Just do something.
Do something. 100%.
Like, I guess there's a lot of distractions out there. That's another thing that's worth maybe touching upon, like with social media.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
the apps, social media.
We've already talked about curating your space, so that comes back. Yeah, exactly. It comes back into it. Like if you're getting distracted by twerking girls on TikTok, do yourself a favor, curate your space, get rid of that shit, report it. Genuinely report it. Like,
I just put not. And literally, as soon as I see a girl's ass, I'm like, hold down on TikTok, not interested.
Yeah, if you don't want to
get anything from it.
Exactly, you don't get anything from it, so stop doing it.
I reckon the hardest thing is probably the people you hang around with or the environment you're in. I think that because we're lucky because we have each other and we've got other people in our friendship circle.
But remember, right? You say we're lucky, but we curated our space.
Yeah. We're
still in touch with a lot of friends who are nowhere near on the same life trajectory as us, right?
Yeah.
But we're still friends with them.
Of course. Yeah, you're right. It's not as if you just have to keep you don't cut them out.
You don't cut them out. We're just about our shit. We are about it, and people who want to come along for the ride will come along for the ride, and that's the most important thing. You've got to be the captain of your ship. Don't let someone else dictate it. If you want to go to the North Pole, you're going to the North Pole. If you want to go to South Africa, you're going to South Africa, right? Don't let someone else take you to the Netherlands or wherever it is.
This probably comes into dating massively. Don't end up with some girl who's just going to start bringing you down, and start putting us as well. Put you on, especially if you're a young guy. Just focus on yourself first. You'll be able to attract a much higher caliber of woman as well. Once you start working on yourself.
The same goes for girls.
Yeah,
as well.
Don't date
if you're a girl, don't date a loser.
Yeah.
If you're a girl and you want what's best for yourself, work on yourself, become the woman you want to be, and you will attract a much better man.
100%.
Simple.
Because that's what's funny. Ultimately, everything you do in life is intersexual dynamics. Whether you want to believe it or not, down to your business, down to looks, it's all to increase your chances of attracting the best mating option. So I guess that's even something that's worth studying. But there's interesting topics like psychology is good to look at too, because you understand how your brain works. Study kind of how the body works, how nutrition works. I think that those are topics that have helped me kind of understand how the world works. Social dynamics, kind of sociology. Those are definitely things that are worth looking into.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can always put some resources at the end of this video or on our Discord if you come join the people that we use. I mean, there's that young guy, Iman Gadzi.
Yeah.
I think that's his name. He's really good because he's young as well, and he's been recording since he was 16. So you can literally see from the days he was broke to him being a multi-millionaire now. Everyone's got people that gets them gas, and also have fun. Don't you've got us. So we've got anime. I will spend hours on TikTok just looking at random shitty memes. Or we can have these conversations, but then we can also talk about the stupidest things for 2 hours.
Have a personality. Don't fall into the trap of making everything like this your whole life.
Because we fall into this trap. So, if you're not on the grind, you're a loser. I don't want to talk to you. It's just you need because then no one's gonna like you. If you want to do well in life, you need to be good with people.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the best skills to have. And you're not gonna be good with people if you're some boring guy that all you care about is self-development, can't actually have a joke, and you're too just weird to have a normal interaction with someone.
Exactly. Have a personality, because ultimately that's what people want to see, right? People want to know you because of your personality, not because you're some multi-millionaire. Some people do. Don't get me wrong. There are gold diggers, but we're not talking about that right now.
And you can work to improve your personality. Go out there, talk to new people. If you're still into partying and drinking and going out, at least go out there, talk to girls, talk to guys, make new friends, network. Don't just sit there with your mates, getting pissed and not chatting to anyone else. It's an L. Cool. If you're 18, 19, 17 and you're at uni, you're gonna do it. But try and turn every single opportunity. Any single event into an opportunity whereby you can improve yourself. So if you're still into smoking weed or whatever and doing all these things that kind of contribute more towards a downward spiral, at least use it to we've got mates that still go out and booze a lot and go out drinking, but they're always making new friends, always chatting to girls. So they're improving their kind of social skills, networking abilities. You learn more, and people like people that are sociable, right? And that gets you very far in life.
Yeah, 100%. Good stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's a lot of stuff for you guys to digest. But we hope you found that really helpful. If there's anything that you have personally benefited from this podcast, let us know in the comments. Send us a message on Instagram. Join the Discord and let us know. If there's anything that you want us to talk about in the future, or if you have any ideas about mindset, share them with us, and we'll be sure to talk about them in the future. But like I always say, make sure you subscribe to our stuff, make sure you follow so that you don't miss any episodes in the future, and hopefully these will actually be so helpful and fruitful for you and your success. So with that, Gravity Gang, we'll see you next time.